Let's get into the incredible story of how a young democracy stared down an extremist threat and won.
So, picture this, 1930. A far-right group kidnaps the country's first president, almost toppling its democracy.
So, how did they pull back from the brink? To get it, we gotta go back to the very beginning.
It all really starts with the Finnish Civil War of 1918, a truly brutal conflict.
You had two sides, the communist Reds and the conservative Whites. In the end, the Whites won.
But even with the war over, this deep fear of communism stuck around. I mean, the Soviet Union was right there. Then came the spark, a communist youth march in a very conservative town. It did not go over well.
And that one incident gave birth to the Lapua Movement, a radical, nationalist, anti-communist group.
And you know, they got a ton of support, even from mainstream politicians and business owners.
A crucial piece of the puzzle was the Civic Guard. They were anti-communist, but not necessarily anti-democracy.
And get this, they organized a huge Peasants' March, totally inspired by Mussolini's March on Rome.
Yeah, over 12,000 people marched on the Capitol, trying to force the government's hand.
And it worked. The government actually caved and passed new anti-communist laws. This was their peak.
But at their core, they were violent. Kidnapping opponents became their signature brutal tactic.
So you can just see how fast everything escalated, a local incident to a national crisis in just a few years.
And here is the turning point. They went way too far. They kidnapped the Republic's beloved first president.
And that was a huge mistake. It crossed the line for most Finns, even some of their own supporters.
They weren't done just yet, though. They still managed to get their guy, P.E. Svinhufvud, elected president.
But here's the twist. Svinhufvud was a conservative, for sure, but he was also a defender of the legal system.
Which brings us to their last desperate move, the Mäntsälä Rebellion, a final attempt at a coup.
But the Civic Guard, the group they were counting on, this time they said no. Pretty much no one showed up.
And the final nail in the coffin? Their own guy, President Svinhufvud, went on the radio and ordered them home.
And just like that, it was over. The Lapua Movement was banned, and Finnish democracy made it through. So why did democracy win? Well, the extremists overplayed their hand, and key institutions held the line. The Finnish story is a powerful reminder that while democracy can be fragile, its people and institutions can defend it.